The courthouse smelled like old paper and lemon polish. The kind of clean that hides every stain except the ones on your heart. Sophia stood by the window in her thrift store dress, pressing a trembling palm to the cool glass. Outside, morning cracked open over the city like an egg. Yellow light. White clouds. A siren far away. She breathed in. She breathed out. She whispered, "Please." Across the hall, cameras clicked. Reporters swarmed a tall man in a charcoal suit. Robert. Billionaire. Father. Power moving like heat around him. His cufflinks caught the sun and scattered it like tiny knives. "No comment," he said, even though he loved the sound of his own voice. He glanced at Sophia. Not a glance. A verdict. "Are you ready?" a clerk asked Sophia gently. She nodded. "I don't have a lawyer," she said. The words tasted like metal. "You have your truth," the clerk offered, trying to be kind. "Is that enough?" Sophia asked. "Would it be for you?" Last week, they found the bracelet in her locker. The bracelet with a name that belonged to a woman who didn't live anymore. Robert's late wife. A diamond curve shaped like a wish. Only, Sophia didn't steal it. That night, she had been in the kitchen kneading bread for the house staff. Flour on her hands. A hymn on her lips. A storm pressing against the glass of that glass mansion like a hungry face. Emma had come down for tea. Eyes red. Voice fragile. Emma, Robert's daughter, who wore fear like perfume. "He thinks it's you," she whispered, and her porcelain cup rattled on its saucer. "Why?" "Because you're here," Emma said, and a tear slid down. "Because you're easy to blame." In the mansion, wealth hummed. Marble floors. Cold art. Rooms that swallowed words. Michael, the head of security, watched from corners like a shadow that had learned to walk. John, Robert's son, watched too. Quiet. Polite. Eyes like storm glass. When Sophia passed him the basket of warm rolls, he held on a second too long. "Thank you," he said softly, as if he needed the word to anchor him. Did he know? Did he see? Now, in courtroom 3B, the clock ticked like a slow hammer. People rustled. A woman in the second row chewed gum. A man coughed, then apologized to nobody. The door opened, and the judge's clerk called the room to order. Sophia stepped to the table alone. No stack of files. No whispering attorney with a silver tie. Just a small notebook with a frayed ribbon and a single photo inside. Emma laughing in the kitchen. Flour on her nose. A memory that proved nothing. A truth that proved everything. The bailiff called the case. The microphones crackled. Robert took his seat at the front with his legal machine. His eyes never left Sophia. He smiled. It didn't touch his cheeks. "State your name," the judge said. "Sophia Cruz," she answered. A hush fell. "Are you represented by counsel?" "No, Your Honor." A pause. A long one. The kind that becomes a test. Somewhere behind Sophia, the door hinges sighed. Footsteps. Soft. Hesitant. Slow. She didn't turn. The judge lifted an eyebrow. Robert's jaw tightened, just a whisper. And in that breath between heartbeats, a familiar voice cleared its throat. Before the bracelet. Before the headlines. There was a house made of glass and rules. The first rule was simple. Don't look rich people in the eye unless they speak to you. The second rule was cruel. If something breaks, you broke it. The third rule was silent. Eat your shame quietly. Sophia arrived at that house with a canvas bag and a prayer. "I will send money," she promised her mother over the phone. "I will come home on Sundays." Bread scent, floor wax, the citrus cut of fresh polish, the hum of the indoor pool. She learned the rhythm. Dawn laundry. Midday dusting. Evening linens that folded like swans. She sang under her breath because it kept her hands steady. Emma found her first. "Do you bake?" "I do." "Teach me," Emma said, eyes bright like a child who wasn't allowed to be one. In the kitchen, time softened. They sifted flour as rain drummed the skylight. They laughed when the dough stuck to their wrists. Emma mimed a powdered mustache. Sophia took the photo. The one she carried to court. John drifted in sometimes. Quiet as a thought. He would lean in the doorway, phone in his pocket, listening to the oven tick and the radio crackle. "It smells like Sundays," he'd say, and then, "Thank you for treating Emma like a sister." His smile was small. Honest. Robert appeared like thunder. Watching. Testing. "The staff is not family," he reminded Emma, that first week. He said staff like stain. "Keep boundaries." "Yes, father," Emma whispered. Sophia lowered her eyes. She felt the wire of his disapproval over her skin. Michael lived in the edges. Keys at his belt. Walkie at his hip. He walked the grounds with a predator's patience. "We log every entry," he told Sophia. "We log every open safe. Cameras see what I tell them to see." He smiled then. It wasn't kind. The night before it happened, lightning splintered the sky. The pool lights quivered. A breaker hiccuped. For 30 seconds, the cameras blinked. Darkness breathed. When the power returned, the house exhaled like it had been holding a secret. Morning brought a storm of voices. Robert's fury came first. "Where is it?" His hand slammed the desk. A paperweight rattled. His eyes found Sophia like a bullet finds bone. "I don't know," she said. Her mouth was dry. Michael was efficient. Locker checks. Drawer checks. Gloved hands in tidy boxes. And then a shout from the staff hall. A velvet pouch. A glint of diamond night in Sophia's locker that she barely opened, because she kept everything she owned in a canvas bag under her bed. Emma cried. John stared at the pouch with his breath held like he might drown if he let it go. "This isn't right," he said. Robert's voice cut the room. "Truth is simple," he said. "Thieves are too." He looked at Sophia like she had invented hunger to embarrass him. Sophia felt the floor tilt. She tasted salt and metal. "I didn't." "Tell it to the judge," Robert replied. Later, when the house fell into evening and the reporters retreated like a spent tide, John found Sophia folding sheets. He stood very still. "Sometimes cameras miss what windows catch," he said softly. "Sometimes silence is safer than speech." He lifted his phone, then slid it away like it burned. "What did you see?" Sophia asked. John opened his mouth, closed it. Silence settled between them, heavy as wet wool. He left without speaking. And in that silence, the truth began to grow teeth. "Good morning," said Judge Evelyn Hart, voice steady, eyes sharper than the edge of a new coin. Silver hair tucked behind one ear. Black robe neat as a promise. She surveyed the room, found the shape of power, and refused to be impressed. Robert's attorneys rose like a black tide. "Your Honor," the lead one began, "this is a simple case. Theft. Opportunity. Motive." He gestured toward Sophia like a man pointing at a scratch on his car. "A bracelet of significant value, discovered in Ms. Cruz's locker. We will demonstrate or assume." Judge Evelyn cut in. A murmur rippled through the benches. The attorney flushed, adjusted, marched on. Sophia stood when told, sat when told, spoke when asked. "I didn't take it," she said, and her voice did not shake this time. "I was kneading bread at 8:13 p.m. I wiped the counter at 8:26. I turned off the oven at 8:31. I texted my mother at 8:43. "Cute," the attorney said. "Dinner and an alibi." Sophia lifted her chin. "Just dinner." Emma sat in the second row, fingers strangling a tissue. Her gaze ping-ponged between her father and Sophia. When she forced a smile toward her brother's empty seat, the smile fell through her face like a stone. John wasn't there. Not yet. Why not? Would you have waited? Would you have run? Michael testified first. Calm. Professional. I conducted the search, per protocol. The pouch was located in Ms. Cruz's locker. Cameras show a blackout from 9:02 to 9:32 due to storm interference. We have logs of all access to the safe. No anomalies. Convenient storm, Judge Evelyn said, dry as paper. Michael didn't blink. We can't control the weather, Your Honor. Robert took the stand like a king takes a balcony. He adjusted his cufflinks. He fed the room his sadness and made them spoon it. The bracelet belonged to my late wife, he said. Emma's mother. It is the last unbroken thing. His eyes glistened. We welcomed Ms. Cruz into our home. We paid her, housed her, treated her with respect. He paused. Let the room feel his loss. We were repaid with betrayal. Sophia's hands curled on the table. She could smell his cologne from where she sat. Something expensive. Something that muted truth with cedar and smoke. She remembered him telling Emma the staff is not family. She remembered the small smile that never reached his eyes. Sophia rose when her turn came. No lawyer. No tie. Just breath. I didn't take your bracelet, Mr. Vale, she said, using his name like a door she refused to walk through. But I did see something you may have missed. Robert's mouth twitched. Enlighten me. She held up her notebook. This house runs on small things. Bread timers. Laundry cycles. Garden sprinklers. They don't lie. They don't know how. The attorney snorted. Is the bread going to testify? Laughter fluttered, then died under Judge Evelyn's stare. Sophia opened to a page of times. The oven runs hot for 12 minutes after shutoff. The kitchen camera flickers when it rains. The pool lights reset in order, east to west. She looked up. That blackout didn't act like a storm. A beat. Quiet. The room leaned in. Ms. Cruz, Judge Evelyn said, do you intend to call any witnesses? Yes, Your Honor. Whom? Sophia turned. She searched the back of the courtroom like a lighthouse scanning fog. Her chest tightened. Empty doorway. Empty bench. My witness, she said slowly, is John. The courtroom inhaled. Robert's stare sharpened. The door at the back creaked. Footsteps. One pair. Then another. And in the sudden hush, a young man stepped through with a phone in his hand and fear in his eyes. John stood at the threshold like someone arriving late to his own life. Rain clung to his collar. His hair was damp, and his breathing came in small, careful sips. He lifted a hand toward the judge. I'm sorry, Your Honor, he said, voice clear, soft. I had to be sure. Robert's attorney rose. Your Honor, we weren't notified. Sit, Judge Evelyn said. Truth doesn't need an appointment. John took the stand. The oath sounded loud in the hush. He looked at Sophia first, then Emma, then his father last. I didn't speak sooner, he began, because fear is an excellent teacher when you're young. It taught me to make excuses for what power breaks. He swallowed. I'm done learning that lesson. He set his phone on the evidence tray. There are two things, he said. One you can hear. One you can see. The bailiff adjusted a small speaker. Static fizzed. Then voices. Robert's voice, lower, different in a room without microphones. We can't have weakness in this house, it said, crisp as glass. I won't be humiliated. A pause. A door closing. Shoes on tile. Michael's voice, quieter. What do you want me to do? Robert again. Make it simple. Michael. The cameras. Robert. Storms happen. Silence. Then the sucked-in breath of a man who has realized he has said too much. A ripple ran through the room. A reporter's pen froze mid-word. Emma's hand flew to her mouth. Michael stared straight ahead, A statue sweating. John's thumb hovered over the screen. "There's more," he said. "Something you can see." He tapped. The screen lit up. Footage from the staircase landing, captured through a reflection in the glass wall. Not the official cameras. A ghost of a mirror. In the reflection, a hallway. A locker row. Michael's back. The velvet pouch in his gloved hand. He glanced up and down the corridor, then popped the lock with a small tool. He slid the pouch in. He stepped away. All of it stamped with 9:18 p.m. The blackout window. "Where did you get this?" the attorney demanded, mask slipping, voice sharp. "The house is made of glass," John said quietly. "It reflects as well as it hides. I noticed during storms that the landing catches reflections from angles the cameras miss. I set my phone there when the breakers tripped. I suspected something after the last charity gala when wine vanished, and then reappeared in a gardener's shed with a security tag on it. The gardener lost his job." He looked at Michael. He cried. Michael's jaw flexed. He blinked. He blinked again. "I had my orders," he said finally, voice low, words landing like stones. "All I ever asked," Robert said, steel-cold eyes on his son, "was loyalty." "Loyalty to what?" John asked. His hands shook, but his eyes didn't. "To you. Or to the truth." The attorney scrambled for footing. "This proves nothing about intent," he insisted. "It's speculative. It's recorded," Judge Evelyn said. "We'll take 10 minutes." She banged the gavel once. The sound cracked the air. People stood. Voices rose. Reporters flowed to the hall like water seeking a slope. Sophia didn't move. Her hands were steady on the table now. Emma slid into the seat beside her. "I'm sorry," she whispered, tears bright and hot. "I should have. I didn't know how." "You were afraid," Sophia said, and laid a hand over Emma's. Warmth. Forgiveness. A breath that didn't hurt. By the door, Robert and Michael stood close, heads tilted together, two men building a wall out of broken rules. Robert's profile was cut from stone. He looked at John with something too old to be anger. Something that looked like grief wearing armor. The recess clock ticked. The room held its breath. Would it exhale as a storm or as a prayer? When court reconvened, the air felt different. Lighter. Charged. Like the hour after thunder when leaves still tremble, but the sky is blue. Judge Evelyn returned with a patience that felt like power. "We will proceed," she said. "Mr. Vale, do you wish to explain the recording?" Robert stood. He was a man built for stages. For interviews. For rooms that applauded on cue. "We were under attack," he said, and his voice found its old confidence. "My family. My legacy." I gave an instruction in anger. It was not carried out as I intended. Michael flinched. "He told me to make it simple," he said into his chest. "So I did." The judge turned to Sophia. "Miss Cruz." Sophia rose. She smoothed the thrift store fabric with one hand. She faced the court like a woman facing a mirror. "No hiding. I came to this house to work," she said. "I baked bread. I scrubbed floors that didn't know what dirt was. I held a girl while she cried about a mother who was gone and a father who was there but far away. I didn't steal. I didn't lie. I did not have the power to make a storm. But I had eyes. And I had memory." She took a breath. "And now you have proof." Judge Evelyn nodded once. "The charge of theft against Ms. Sophia Cruz is dismissed with prejudice." The gavel landed like a blessing. "Ms. Cruz, you are free to go." "Mr. Vale, Mr. Hayes," she eyed Michael. "You may expect a separate inquiry." The sound in the room changed. It was a sound you can't fake. Relief. Like the first laugh after a funeral. Emma sobbed and threw her arms around Sophia. "Come home for bread on Sunday," she whispered through happy tears. "We'll do it right this time." Sophia smiled. Only if you bring the music. Michael's shoulders slumped, his edges spilling into the man beneath the badge. I'm sorry, he said, words rough with rust. I thought I was protecting the house. Protect people, Sophia said gently. Houses are just walls. Robert approached his son. Cameras crept closer like curious cats. You humiliated me, he said, voice soft as paper over a blade. John swallowed. I told the truth. You chose a maid over your father. I chose a person over my fear, John replied, steady now. That's what you taught me by accident. A silence settled. Heavy, bare. And then it cracked when Emma slid between them like light. Choose each other, she said. Or choose to be better alone. Outside, the day had turned tender. Pigeons picked at a crust near the steps. A bus sighed at the curb. The city carried on, indifferent and kind. Reporters flung questions. Sophia faced them with a small smile and no bitterness. Bread is a science, she said to a microphone. So is truth. You measure. You wait. You trust the rise. At the bottom of the courthouse steps, John reached for Sophia's canvas bag and carried it like something sacred. You shouldn't walk alone, he said. I never was, she answered, and looked at Emma, at the clerks, at the strangers who had made space for her story. Not really. They paused in the sun. Warmth soaked their faces. A breeze untied the day's tight knot. For a heartbeat, everything was soft. Then Sophia lifted her chin and asked the question we all dodge until we can't. If telling the truth meant losing the person who raised you, would you do it anyway? What do you think loyalty should look like when power and truth collide, and have you ever spoken up even when it meant standing against someone you loved?